So listen, gang, the video you're about to watch is sourced in many different ways. And if I can just make a request, I know you're going to have thoughts, opinions, experiences, and obviously you're more than welcome to share those with me and all of us. The more, the better. It would be interesting to hear your perspective and the ups, the downs, the sideways. If you've kind of gone through this type of situation with a Thai lady. Just don't throw me under the bus. All right. This is, if you can't say something nice, what does your mom always say? If you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all, and just kind of move on. Okay. I did this because people asked me to do this, and I hope it explains a lot of things and answers a lot of questions for everybody. Peace. Hey gang, I hope you're well. So listen, as promised, let's talk about love in Thailand. Actually, I was going to originally break it into two-part series. The first one being on love, second one being on relationships. And because the two kind of intertwine, I'm just going to do probably multiple videos, but it's not going to be specifically separated that way. Anyway, and everything I'm going to tell you is based on my personal experience, a lot of input from other guys who either live here full time and have or have had, full-time relationships with a Thai woman. And by the way, I'm sorry, ladies, this is specifically about Western dudes hooking up with Thai women, okay? And this is nothing against Western women, it's just kind of the reality. Since I've been here, which is pushing 3 years, and I've lived in, Pattaya for over 2.5 years and Chiang Mai now for a while, I have seen one Western woman who was obviously in a relationship with a Thai man. Outside of that one couple, I've never seen one, so you're not being ignored. It's just kind of the reality here. All right, so here we go. And by the way, a couple of people suggested, the women and the relationships and love is the same all over the world. No, it's not. I'm not going to go into great detail, but until you've experienced living in other parts of the world and experienced the people who live there, Southeast Asia, not the same as the West. Mexico is not the same as the West. And I'll just leave it at that. Anyhow, so I've broken, kind of to keep things simple, I've broken it down into 3 categories, right? So the first one I'm going to call the gold digger. Second category is the security seeker. So the third category is committed. And the last and final category I would classify as the homemaker. So let me break these down for you real quick. And I apologize if this is going to come across as feeling like a lecture, but, it's not a subject I can cover in 90-second reel, you know what I mean? So, and if you really want to know how it works and you want to get a sense and an understanding, then I'm here to help. And based on my experience and my exposure and the amount of content I've been able to gather since I've been here, hopefully this gives you some insight. I'm obviously not an expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm just dealing in realities and other people's realities. So let's start with the gold digger. The gold digger. That was the politest name I could give it. The gold digger is someone who doesn't necessarily mean that they, work at a girly bar or go-go bar or something like that, a gentleman's club, which for a long-term relationship for you as a Westerner is truly pure poison. I mean, at the end of the day, 95% of those relationships just aren't going to work out, certainly not work out long-term. And you'll be lucky if you walk away from the relationship with money still in your bank account. And I'm just being honest. And I have so many stories I could tell you, just devastating, life-changing, horrible stories. The gold digger is a woman whose sole purpose, whose sole motivation is to get money. any way, shape, or form. And they may come from the bar scene and they may not come from the bar scene, because a lot of these young Thai women are exposed to the realities of what it means to establish a relationship with a Western man, especially an older guy. And by the way, all the things I'm going to discuss today kind of more focus on the expat retired guys, but truly this affects. I mean, I know many young men who have come over here and met a woman, got married, or had long-term serious relationships. Some of them excellent, and some of them total disasters. So it really affects all guys. Their main motivation is money, and they want a certain lifestyle. They want to be able to do things, and they're going to be willing to do anything they can and everything they can to get that. And what that means to you is they're going to lie to your face. They're going to tell you everything you think that they think you want to hear. They're going to treat you like you're a god, like you walk on water. They'll take good care of you. You'll have a great time when things are good and smooth and while you still have money. And it's a party, man. It's just over the top fun. You will be treated and loved and cared for in ways that your brain can't even conceive. But eventually that will implode. And I don't think I really need to go much deeper on that. It's just, you need to understand that if you meet a woman who you met in a bar of any nature, just realize if you try to take it to the next level, you're setting yourself up for failure and heartache and misery. It can get really bad. And I'm not trying to spook you or scare you and say this is 100% fact and it's going to happen every time, but it will happen 9 out of 10 times. And sometimes it doesn't implode for a long time. You might be with that same woman for years, and eventually something snaps and she goes, and so does your money. And there are 1 or 2 examples. There are few and far between where guys have met women in these places and they've been together 10, 15, 20 years and they're doing great. So that's the gold digger. The next category is the security seeker. Security seeker is a woman generally who might be a little bit older or has intense responsibilities, i.e. She has children. Generally, they're going to be young children. Generally, she's going to be out of wedlock. By the way, 80% of the women that in Thailand specifically who have children probably had them out of wedlock, especially if they're from more of the rural areas, i.e. Isan and whatnot. And the baby maker is MIA, not around, doesn't have any support whatsoever. It's pretty brutal, actually. And that's one of their motivations for going to work in the industries that they go to work in, is because they need money for their babies. A lot of these women come from very, very, very poor backgrounds, and they're shuttled off by their own families to go to work in the cities, sometimes in the industries that you and I wouldn't approve of, because that's where they're going to make the most money in the shortest amount of time. And all they got to do is smile and look good and get guys to buy drinks and otherwise. And their main motivation and the family's motivation is because that woman, a big portion of what she makes is going to go back to her family, both to support her children or child as well as her family at large, right? And when I say family at large, I don't mean mom and dad. I mean mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles and cousins. I mean the whole enchilada. And so it's a much better vibe if you're born as a dude in Thailand than a girl, especially in the rural areas, only because you're high percentage chance you're going to end up working in an environment and an area that you really didn't sign up for. So the security seekers are ones who are going to be more genuine. They're looking for sincere relationships. They may or may not, you may not be their first choice for a guy, but if you treat them with respect and you provide for them and you love them and you care for them, you're respectful to them, there's a good chance that she'll lock horns with you because she's looking at you as, oh, thank God, my security blanket has arrived. My night on a white horse has arrived, and I don't have to worry about money anymore. My baby's going to be taken care of. My family's going to be taken care of. I'm going to be taken care of. And she will, again, treat you so well and care for you in every way, shape, or form. I mean, feed you, clean your place, take you out and do stuff together, fun, real, cool stuff. And of course, all this is relative to your budget. But that's a security seeker. She's looking for that guy, a Western guy who she can relax and know that she's taken care of for the rest of her life, as is her family. So that is the security seeker. Third category, that's not a 3. Third category is committed. Committed is a woman that you meet randomly. You might meet her where she works, or you might meet her at the beach, or you might even meet her at a bar, but she doesn't necessarily work there. You might meet her at the mall. You know how it is, just normal. And somehow you strike up a conversation, and you guys end up going out, and then your relationship, blossoms from there. This is a woman who is still also a security seeker, but is very much more focused on you than your money. And maybe she's willing to work. That's the best. She is not relying on you solely financially. She is able to care for herself if she needs to. So she's looking for somebody to have a good, solid, long-term relationship with, not somebody necessarily that's going to take care of her. I mean, that's a side benefit, obviously, but that kind of person, to me, is the optimal relationship. That is the perfect relationship. And there are countless ways to meet these kind of ladies. It's a little more complicated in Thailand, honestly, because of the language barrier. But if you're interested, I'll just tell you anyway, real quick. So I've had 2 girlfriends since I've lived here. My first girlfriend, I met in a bar. She didn't work there. She was hanging out with friends. And I don't remember, but we were kind of making an eye conversation, and there was 3 of them, and they kind of kept pointing at me and giggling and whatever. So I was kind of new to Thailand and didn't really understand how the whole thing works. Anyway, I decided I bought them a round of drinks, right? So short version of the story is the one girl that I was interested in, she and I ended up going out, and a week later she moved in. I know, but it's not like that. And we were together about 14 months. It was a great relationship. Oh my God, we had so much fun. And we did so many cool things together. She never asked me for a dime or a baht. I mean, I supported her in every way I can, but I don't make a lot of money. So she knew financially I was not in a position to take care of her, the way the other categories would have wanted or needed. And she had a baby, young girl, beautiful young girl, that she was responsible for. She sent a lot of money back to her family to help support them. They're all from Isan, in a small village. And the only reason we broke up is because, unfortunately, because I don't make enough money, or so much money, whatever the right way is to say that. And she had a pretty good job, but she wasn't making nearly as much money as she needed, really, truly. And I couldn't really help her out and support her in the way that I would have liked. She scored a job in a different country that paid her literally 10 times the amount of money she was making here in Thailand. So she had no choice. She took the job, and that was kind of the end of our relationship. And I understood, and we still talk pretty much every other day to this day, which is now a year later. My most current girlfriend, I just met about 4 weeks ago, and I wasn't looking for a girlfriend, man. I can't afford a girlfriend, not really. And again, I met her at a bar. She worked at the bar, but she's more like a hostess, right? And it's not a girly bar or anything like that. Just a nice little bar. And we became friends first. We used to talk all the time, as I did with everybody else that worked there, as well, customers as well. And And we sort of became friends first. And just one night she just randomly said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight, Dutch?" And I was like, "I don't know, nothing really. I'm going to go home soon." She says, "Come on, let's go out. There's this new bar or club or whatever it was she wanted to go to." And, we got along really well. And I think she trusted me and she knew I wasn't a player. And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go with you." Jesus criminies, man. I don't think I got home until 4:30 in the morning. And we had so much fun. We just connected. It was awesome. And so now, we didn't immediately hook up, but I mean, after a week or two, we started dating regularly, and now we're sort of a thing. I don't know where it's going to go. She, again, hasn't asked me for a single baht. I don't think she would or will. She knows my financial situation. She treats me really well. She's very respectful. She's so fun to hang out with. So, guys, those women are out there. And my best approach to this kind of finding these kind of women is to not pursue it. Because if you just be you, it'll eventually work its way around and come to you. And it'll just happen naturally, right? Organically. And I know I'm lucky, but I also don't care. I mean, I realize I can't afford a girlfriend. I can't be a gold digger recipient. I don't have the funds, so it doesn't even cross my brain. I never wake up in the day and go, "God, I wish I had more money so I could be with more women or have, get these," you know what I mean? That's not me. Anyway, so for me, it's worked out well. I have friends that have met women who worked in restaurants. I have a friend who, oh man, he met just the sweetest, wonderful, oh, so pretty young woman who worked at a bank. They just over time became friends and friendly and had conversations. And I think one day he finally asked her out or asked her a coffee or something. And she said yes. And the language barrier is still massive. But they've been together ever since, which now has been quite a while. So it's out there. So the fourth and final category is what I call the homemaker. And I know I said originally this is 3 categories, but I kind of refined it a little bit. The homemaker is probably going to be a Thai woman who's a little bit older, a little bit more mature. Her kids are probably grown or close to being grown / adults. She's not necessarily seeking money, but it helps. It takes off pressure. She doesn't want to work the rest of her life. And she's looking for somebody to settle down with. She wants to be a Susie homemaker. She wants to cook for you. She wants to clean. She wants to be your partner in every way. And the homemaker is just, generally speaking, the sweetest, nicest, most wonderful, most caring people out there. So that's the 4 categories. And I kind of want to wrap this up. And I know you guys are probably going to have questions, and that's fine. Just hit me up with whatever. I'm going to wrap this up with some examples of real life situations. And I'm going to give you one really bad and one awesome. So the one really bad story is a guy I know personally. And I don't know how long ago this was because he's lived in Thailand now for a while. And I think he's in his 70s. He met a woman, normal, type of, not from a bar or anything crazy like that. Anyway, he met her. I don't remember how he met her. But anyway, they hit it off well. They had a long-term relationship. They eventually got married. They were married for over 10 years. I mean, they were just rocking. What he didn't know was, and this is a very serious problem in Thailand, especially with Thai women. What he didn't know was she had a very, very, very serious gambling problem. And after 10 years of marriage, I guess it had peaked, and he had no idea. And he didn't know it, but she mortgaged their house. She took out all of the equity out of the house and gambled it all away. And he comes home one day and somebody's standing at his front door going, "Hey, we're moving in next week." He's like, "What?" Somebody bought his house because the bank sold it to whoever. He lost his house. Yeah, and there's a lot more to that story, but it actually got worse. That's one of the worst examples. I have another one that's really juicy, but I'll save that for another time. And these are both situations that I know firsthand. But I have another one. I have more than one, but one of my favorite ones is a guy I know. He's British. He moved over here full time probably about 6, 7 years ago, retired. And he met his wife. She's wonderful. So sweet. Oh my gosh, she takes such good care of him, and he takes really good care of her. They have a wonderful home up in her village, which is about, I think he told me this, I met him in Pattaya. I think he told me it's about a 6 or 7 hour drive from Pattaya. And he loves it up there. And he's got a pretty decent income coming in, and he came here with money. But she's not a gold digger, man. You can just, all you got to do is meet her once, and you know she's just the real deal, you know. And anyway, they live or have lived in her village now for quite some time, and you know he helps out the family. He added a couple of additions so the whole family could all live under one roof, you know, that whole thing. He's a good guy. And recently, because they were coming to Pattaya so much, he recently purchased a condo for him and for the family. Anytime any of them want to get out of the village and go, you know, get crazy for a weekend or a couple weeks or whatever. So that's the other side. There's some really awesome stories out there. So it's very possible. It's very real. Don't be gun shy. Come to Thailand, party your brains out, meet tons of people, a lot of women, have fun. Just understand if you meet a woman and you're getting along really well and you're together for a couple weeks or a month or whatever, and one day she says to you, hey baby, you know, can you give me 5,000 baht, or can I, whatever amount she asks you for. She says, oh, my mom is really sick. The worst one I've heard is you know, our cow is really sick and it might be dying, and we need 10,000 baht for the vet, otherwise we're going to lose the cow, or bull or whatever. If a woman starts asking you for money and with these, they have pat responses and pat things they're going to tell you, and I've heard them all. Sever the relationship that instant, because she will start compounding that forevermore. So she might ask you for 1,000 baht because her baby needs to go to the dentist or the doctor. 1,000 baht, that's nothing. So you willingly throw over 1,000 baht. But then a week or two later, she asks you for 2,500 baht for a completely different reason. Month or two later, 3 months later, she asks you for 5,000 baht, and each time it'll just go up, 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 up. And next thing you know, you spend 100,000 baht, and you're going to be in a bad place. Anyway, heed that warning because it's real, it's true, it happens a lot. Countless friends of mine, I could give you 100 stories about that kind of scenario. So anyway, that's my take on love and relationships in Thailand. And I'm telling you what, if you find the right lady in Thailand, you will be so happy forever. And it's spectacular. It's special. I don't know where my girlfriend and I are going to go. She's kind of quite a bit younger than me. But, you know, I'm just along for the ride right now. So anyway, if you're here already, you probably know everything I just said. If you're not here yet, you're on your way and you're looking for love, it's very doable. Just heed my advice and play it smart, okay? Love you. Thanks for supporting me, and safe travels. So I've been thinking about this, and there's 2 more categories that I want to add to this video. And I know I started with 3, but now I'm at 6. And this should kind of cover everything. And the main reason for me adding these 2 is for your guys' information only, just kind of a FYI, kind of a better understanding of the whole picture when it comes to this topic. And I just want to be as complete as possible, as well as explain that these really don't fall under traditional love category or even relationship category. So what I'm talking about, category 5 is what I call the weekend warrior. And the weekend warrior simply is a lot of guys will come to Thailand, and before they come, they'll prearrange for a woman to hook up with them, to connect with them, and hang out with them for whether they're here for 2 weeks or they're here for 3 months. They'll prearrange to have a girlfriend for the whole time they're here. Generally, the woman would stay with them and go out and party with them and kind of be their escort. I guess is the right way to phrase it. So that I call the weekend warrior, and it's not a horrible idea if you know you're coming to Thailand for a month and you don't really want to get into the girl scene or the bar scene or all that stuff. And I know several guys that do this. I know of several guys that do this, and it works out for them. And what's really nice is if they've done it a few times, they've kind of hooked up with the same woman time and time again. They've established a relationship and a rapport that works really well for both of them. Obviously, it's going to be substantially more expensive. I know one guy that pays his lady about somewhere between 30 and 50,000 baht a month for her to hang out with him, and it's a 24/7 gig for her. And I also personally know a woman, young woman, who does this for a living, and she gets paid on average 100,000 baht a month for her services, and she'll even travel with her clients and customers. And she does really, really, really well. Okay, so that's category 5. That's the weekend warrior. Well, does love come out of it? Probably not, but there's obviously an opportunity to build some sort of rapport/relationship. And the last category is the medical needs category. Category 6 is medical needs. And essentially, there's a lot of expats that come to Thailand because they're not healthy, they're not doing well. They would rather check out here than freezing their ass off in Europe somewhere or something like that. And they kind of will prearrange to have a woman be with them, stay with them, take care of them, service all of their needs, get them to the doctor appointments, get them their pharmaceutical needs, buy groceries for them, cook for them, clean for them. Basically, hand to mouth 24/7 for as long as they're willing to pay these ladies. In some cases, these guys are paying ladies as little as 15,000 baht a month for this extraordinary service. And I've heard significantly a lot more money, depending on both parties, what they agree to and what's needed. And at the end of the day, it's kind of a nice thing because the woman needs the money and she's willing to be his nurse for 24/7. And it's good for the guy because where else is he going to get that? And where else is he going to get that for that price? So now I'm done. I hope this helped. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, just let me know.